And the Wasp Quantumania was directed by Peyton Reed, who directed the previous 2 iterations of Ant-Man on film, and it once again stars Paul Rudd as Scott Lang, aka Ant-Man, as he, Hope, Hank Pym, and Janet Van Dyne all get sucked in the quantum realm and get trapped down there. A micro-universe full of micro-people and micro-creatures alike, all incredibly terrified of a being known only as the Conqueror, Kang the Conqueror, a man who inexplicably has the ability to travel the multiverse at will, but like everybody else, he's trapped in the quantum realm as well. Ant-Man and his band of merry misfits need to take him on in order to return back to their world. So each of these Ant-Man films, regardless of having the same director, seem to be written by somebody else every single time. This time around, it's more of a newcomer, Jeff Loveness, who doesn't exactly have a long list of projects that's associated in his resume. He was like a main writer for the Jimmy Kimmel Show. He's written a few handful of episodes of Rick and Morty and Miracle Workers, so it's safe to assume that he's probably a talented comedic writer, but he's never written a feature-length film before. And in my opinion, there wasn't all that much humor in this third Ant-Man movie. Instead, it was the most serious, I would say. It had its moments, of course, but if I had to wager a guess, I'd say that Mr. Loveness here may have bit off a bit too much than he could chew, because there's not much of a setup going on in this film. My introduction score for the narrative alone was like 0, because before you know it, everybody in the movie got sucked into the quantum realm. There was no time to breathe. There was no time to get yourself situated in your seat to watch the movie in general. It's just like, turn on the movie, bam, they're in the quantum realm. Deal with it. I absolutely hate it when movies essentially start with the inciting incident, because the introduction of any given story is important. It's there to get you acquainted with everybody, what's going on in the world, and to help make you care about the characters that much more. That being said, truthfully, I've never really cared all that much about any of the Ant-Man movies. The first one used to be my lowest scored MCU film. I have since warmed up to it a little bit here and there, and while the sequel wasn't all that either, I did find that really, really funny. I remember laughing pretty good in the theater. This third one, though, it bugged me. I'm not gonna lie, there's stuff that I liked about it though. I don't want to give the entire thing crap as a whole. The character of Kang was great. He was the saving grace. Both the performance and the idea of the character alone was worth it and a lot of fun. I don't know too much about the future about his character given all the drama lately, but I honestly hope they figure it out, because he was everything in this film. I actually wish that there was more of him here than there already was. Also, while I did like the idea of the world building going on in this film, I do think that there was too much of it. There was too much CGI. There wasn't enough practical things holding it all together and balancing everything out. It honestly felt like the entire movie was shot on an entirely green screen movie studio, and I couldn't help but to picture everybody running around like idiots in a green screen studio reacting to things that aren't there. I honestly battled with my visual score in my spreadsheet, because on one hand, it's not technically that bad. They clearly had a budget, and if maybe half of the movie was in the quantum realm, half of the movie was outside of it, then the visuals probably would have been more fleshed out, finished, and looked more realistic. But because it's the entire movie, it turned into a distraction for me. A distraction. And because of that overall, my visual score turned out to be 0. Some people seem to have a problem with the change of actress for Cassie as well. At this time, it's played by Kathryn Newton, and while I don't exactly love casting changes as a general rule, I'm still a little bit peeved that they got rid of Edward Norton and Terrence Howard. I do think that Kathryn Newton did a fine job. I connected with her. I don't think that she really brought it down all that much. I also don't really buy into the idea that the previous actress, Emma Fuhrmann, could have done as good of a job as Newton anyway. I actually have a bigger gripe with Evangeline Lilly's hair. Oh, goodness gracious, honey. What were you thinking? You turned into a bit of a Karen. Overall, I can't say that I hated the movie. I know quite a few things bothered me about it, and I can't help but rage a little bit about that. But in terms of the MCU, in terms of a sequel in general, I do think that most of what happened in the movie was a natural progression of events and overall massively important in the long run for where we're going to be in the future for other MCU films. I don't think that the structure was good enough though. I think that it bounced too fast into the story. I think that it had too much of the quantum realm, and that diluted their budget a bit. But in the confines of what was going on, I was mostly on board. I will say that, just don't expect me to be rushing to watch the movie again. Let's go ahead and break down my final score for a second, which for Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, is a C+ letter grade final overall score of 66%, 66 out of 100 possible stars, which is the lowest scored Ant-Man movie for me, and it might technically also be my lowest scored MCU film too, but it's been a little while. I still need to revisit some of the others until I can say for sure which one is the worst. Guys, have you seen Ant-Man 3? If you have, what are your thoughts on it? Am I being too harsh here? Am I not being harsh enough? Let me know your thoughts. And as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit the like, subscribe button, and bell to be notified when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out.